So I'm Magic Gnome, Paul, and I am the flex player for Downfall. I got into HOTS probably 2 years ago, just because a mate of mine suggested it. Thought it was fun, just continued.
Yeah, name's Matthew, or Flazen Game. Been playing HOTS for a while. Kind of just got into it by picking Asmo and running it down every game, Eventually it stuck, climbed the ladder, started from the bottom and now we're here kind of thing, Technically rusted on as the tank for Downfall, although that's not really my actual role, but, you take some, you give some.
I'm Liam. I'm Shrek or Shrek in-game. I'm the support player for Downfall, and I started playing maybe a full year ago now because League's a dead game.
I'm Superfish, and I'm Anthony, and I'm going to HOTS because my friend was like, hey, this game is free, and it's like a new mobile, you should try it. And it was fun, and I kept playing, and I'm the solo laner for Downfall.
Well, we all came from different approaches. I think Paul was on a separate roster named Milkshakes back in the day. I'll let him speak a bit later more about that. But me personally, I just came out of doing my high school certificate, so finished up year 12, and I wanted to kind of redistribute some of my time to playing more competitive. So now that I had the opportunity, I really wanted to get into a team, asked around, got into a roster, good times.
Well, it was pretty much the same thing. A lot of the teams had... I came from Milkshake, and a lot of the teams were creating their rosters and changing around in the pre-season, and I wanted to be in a team as well. Couldn't really find a team that worked because Milkshake got disbanded when a few of the members decided they wanted to leave for different reasons. So just asked around, eventually found like Konya, and that was the first ones, and AT, and just whenever we found someone that was really good and seemed interested, we just grouped up.
Well, I guess there's a little bit of differential in ambition across the board. Some of the players on our team were, very adamant about our capability to hit top 2. Others of us were a little bit more conservative and said, so long as we're not bottom 2, we'll be all right. I think realistically we were somewhere in the middle, and placing 4th was it was a good opportunity for us to experience the league. There's been a lot of internal discussion, and yeah, it's been something that we've struggled through with scrims and watching replays and some similar prospects in the past. I think that for the most part though, when it comes down to game time and we log in for the HGC games, we focus up and do our best regardless. So
in the end, when we got into games, everybody was just trying their best. So in-game, I don't think it made much of a difference. It's more the analytical side that there was more discussions with.
I can't speak for others, but I think from my perspective, it was definitely the communications within the context of a game. Even to this day, we don't have a dedicated shot caller. We kind of just say things and follow each other around. And this has its positives and detriments, of course. One of the primary examples would be that we often miss soak or miss rotations or something like that because people are just all over the place and comms are getting a bit crowded. On the converse of that, however, you tend to have people who just quiet down and don't say a single word in the entire game. So there's a balance to be had there. I'm not sure exactly how we'd go about approaching that. It's just different days, different mindsets,
To some extent, yes, and to some extent, no as well, because it's having someone to decide our actions is obviously necessary, but at the same time, just communicating more with everyone is what my goal is. Just what we're doing in game. If we could increase what everybody is communicating with the team, and then just have one person deciding for sure what is necessary occasionally, that I think that would be fine. Our comms aren't quite up to that stage yet. Everybody kind of does their own role in terms of what they think is
Typically, we
necessary.
sit in silence for about 30 seconds and then yell at each other.
That is also true.
But yeah, it's like
Then in
mostly
the last 3 seconds of the draft phase, it's like scrambling to find that last pick, you know.
Yeah.
It's like switching between tabs. Oh crap, where's Kel'Thuzad or whatever, you know.
Yeah, that's why we put Flays on the banner, bro.
Yeah,
Because he can
He's
switch
amazing
heroes.
switching heroes quickly. Well, it's the first time the league has been done in this manner, so there was bound to be hiccups. All up, I don't think it was done too badly. It's just there's a lot that needs to be worked on.
Yeah, I agree. I think that the underlying infrastructure for the scene is really healthy. It's just, well, yeah, some of the rules that had been put in place weren't adhered to, or there were, like, yeah, small growing pains here or there, especially going through the preseason into the first phase. And, like, I'm not sure how affiliated you are with the current, like, well, flavor of the month in terms of community complaints, but we're currently in the middle of the first phase and second phase, and teams have no idea what the domain of their options are in terms of how they can go about doing roster swaps or, you know, similar things like that. So, like, and that's something that should have been in the rules from day one, and for all other regions, that's like see it into the rule book. I'm not sure exactly what the admin's plans are for that, but I don't know, we'll have to see. And it seems all a little bit, you know, up in the air. It feels like there's a lot of apprehension with regards to what the next couple of weeks will entail for the different rosters.
The only thing that's confirmed is that 3 members need to be on the same team. Other than that, dates and times are non-existent in the rules. So we've got nothing really to work on in terms of when we're submitting rosters. And
I mean, even that restriction, the core 3 rule, hasn't been incinerated in the rule book either. It's just like a given. Like I checked, there is like a team is comprised of a core 3 and blah blah blah, but that's for like during the phase. Like it doesn't specify that that's the case in between phases as well. So
that was confirmed earlier on in the
yes,
season.
but the thing is, like, that was made public information by way of Discord in a public platform. These things should be like cohesive and all in one place. It shouldn't be the role of the players to go out and seek, you know, constant validation from the admins of, oh, is this a rule? Is this a rule? Should we be worried about this, etc.
Yeah, that sort of stuff is going to all be done presumably in the next week though, so we just got to wait for that, I guess. Well, our greatest problem is the comms, and so obviously we've been working on that week to week. Other than that, versing a lot of different teams of a lot of different standards has definitely broadened our mind to a lot of even different strategies at the same time.
I mean,
Well, yeah, 2 of us are in the first year of university, so we've got our own commitments to meet, and sometimes it has been a little bit of a struggle to reshuffle classes or, you know, make assessments fit our schedule. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
General though, we usually try and set times up, like for scrims and stuff like that, that are just around our personal lives if we can. Other than
In terms of the, like, well, sorry, if I cut you.
you go first.
Alright. In terms of the internal workings of the league, I would like to see more open communication by part of the administrators. Again, it shouldn't be the onus shouldn't be on the players to go out and seek information. It should be already available from day one. And this has been a constant problem throughout, you know, the last couple seasons of HOTS, even before Blizzard became involved and sponsored the league. I really thought that there would be a heightened sense of professionalism this time around, but, you know, we've still had very, like, you know, under the table kind of shady stuff going on. You know, it would be nice to see that kind of cleaned up, but I can understand where the frustration is. You know, there's only so many players in the region, and if you start booting them all out, then you don't really have a league at all. So
I mean, like, I'd like to see more competitive teams in the next season going in. Like, this run we had one team who forfeited 80% of their matches or something, and another who had 2 platinum players or something, which made the league seem a little top heavy. But I mean, that's not something that can be controlled. So
Yeah.
perhaps unfortunate, but largely out of our control.
Like
Really?
to see like if the teams are a bit more closer, something.
The main problem was because of the roster swaps that happened between preseason and the start of the season. Because a lot of the teams changed all of a sudden. There was a big difference in the skill level because they changed before Phase 1.
well, I don't know. I would venture to disagree with that. I think that the skill disparity of teams has existed, like, even before the roster swaps from the preseason to the Phase 1. Like, Mind Freak was always going to be head and shoulders above the rest of the competition, and I know there was some debate as to whether or not they truly deserve that #1 spot with Crimson moving up, but even then, you know, Rich Gang and everything, they all seemed, you know, to pale in comparison to those higher up teams. And if you want to have a league where you stream each of the unique matchups against, like, you know, the 14 permutations or whatever, like, you know, there's bound to be games that feel very lopsided, and I think that's maybe something that the administrators should look to address in the future. Maybe only stream the games that are more likely to be close, instead of having, you know, the like Nekomimi versus Nomiya in like week 2 or whatever it was.
Win?
That
I mean,
pretty
yeah,
much covers it for, I think, the majority of our team. We're all just aiming to improve and do better next season, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of internal discussion still to be had as to how we're going to approach the next couple of weeks moving on to Phase 2. I think that without a doubt, however, the players of Downfall will be represented in Phase 2 in some form. So, you know, you have that to look forward to. Shout out to my mom, XD.
Alrighty.
I got shout out to the Downfall, obviously, for being there for us. It's always nice to have someone at your back.
Thanks,
But-
Neeb.
Yeah,
No worries, boys.
Abe.
And Ice as well.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Ice super sub.
I'd also
Oh, yeah?
like to give
Oh,
a shout
yeah.
out to places like Onyx Guild, which are helping new teams. It's always nice to get the community backing as well, and that's something Onyx Guild give.